Okay. Yesterday, it was reported by probably one of the most dishonest news sources in the anime community, the Anime News Network. You know, the same slime balls, all activists disguised as journalists who basically allowed a hit piece to be published on Vic Mignogna that got him sacked. Well, now they put out evidence against a different voice actor. This time, it's Damon Mills, who was one of many VAs who threw Vic under the bus. That being said, this comes out from yesterday. I'll pull out the article. Let's see. Here's the article. Published 9:30 a.m. last night, yesterday morning. Interest. Voice actor, ADR director Damon Mills accused of sexual misconduct. And for those wondering, Ring, Damon is among the younger crop of VAs, and he's gay. So this would be against another man. He did this to another guy. And I quote, in a public document, an Ohio man accused Evangelion film and Sonny Boy voice actor Damon Mills of groping and masturbating him next to him while he was asleep. This alleged according to the victim, the incidents took place between 2014 and 2015, when the man was a high school student and Mills was in his early 20s. Now he's in his late 20s. And the latter is in his late 20s. Through a cease and desist order sent to the alleged victim on February 18th, asserts that the relationship was consensual and mutual, and the allegations are wholeheartedly false and without merit. The voice actor is asking that the allegations be retracted. The man asked to be called Duncan due to concerns over retaliation and privacy. Claims that he met Damon, over Facebook when he was just a shy, quiet, and anxious 15-year-old boy when they began talking in December of 2012, when the yet undiscovered voice actor was still living in Hawaii. Because they've been familiar with one another through the fan dub scene. And for those wondering, I don't know which fan dub scene they're talking about here. Since I do not like Damon, I wouldn't know which scene they're talking about in this situation. Sorry, I forgot to unplug my headphones. Anyway, hello, Putnam. Not much, just going over the Damon Mills allegations. Anyway, Duncan told A&N that the friendship intensified, and Mills confessed sexual and romantic attractions, which Duncan did not reciprocate. According to him, he wanted to be kind to Mills and did not want the friendship to end because of sexual orientation differences. So I think I see where we're going with this. This kid was straight, whereas I've already mentioned, Damon is gay. And Damon didn't care. However, he added that he was routinely explaining to Mills that he was not romantically involved over their several-year friendship. This is what Duncan stated. Quote, I tried to be nice as possible, while also stating I did not feel the same, but didn't want it to affect our friendship. He continued to talk to me every day, texting me constantly, getting angry and emotionally attacking me if I did not respond as quickly as he did. He would often bring up that he felt sexually and emotionally attached to me. All these things I would try to dodge, he wrote in a public document. Duncan said that Mills moved to Ohio in January of 2014, approximately a year into the friendship. He said Mills's new home was about an hour from where he lived with his parents, referring to Duncan. And they would see each other about once a month. Duncan claimed that the first time Mills stayed over at his house, He insisted that they sleep next to one another in the 16-year-old's twin sized bed. Oh boy. I awoke that night to him heavily wrapped against me, nose in my neck, his entire arm up my shirt, and caressing my bare body. I left confused and outraged. This man I had been vulnerable to, taking advantage of my trust. I confronted him. Duncan wrote in the public document, claimed that Mills denied being awake and the teen asked him never to do it again. According to Duncan, however, Mills's behavior didn't stop, and the sleepovers routinely included Mills asking to sleep in his bed, following him waking up, being kissed, caressed, or having his hand moved towards Mills' genitals. On one occasion, Duncan awoke to discover Mills masturbating next to him in the bed. I was so alarmed that it took me a couple of days to bring this up to him. He then admitted he had been pleasuring himself in my bed, and he also told me he'd get off to the idea of me a lot. I feel so much shame for letting this go for as long as it did, but also anger that someone knows right from wrong, who knows right from wrong, would do these sorts of things. Duncan claimed that on Mills' 21st birthday in 2014, he came to stay in Duncan's family home and spent hours attempting to persuade the then 17-year-old boy to perform oral sex. Oh my freaking God. He stated that Mills told him friends help each other out sometimes. I'm so happy that through the emotional abuse and mind games, I didn't give in. This is Duncan saying this. However, I would still wake up to him kissing me in my sleep and fondling me. Some of these things I was too cowardly to even address, Duncan wrote in the public document. He said that Mills even sought out one of his other acquaintances order to in hopes of getting photos of Duncan in his undies, under the pretense of it being a joke. That acquaintance was Brian, who asked us not to publish his last name again for privacy concerns. Brian was introduced to Mills through Duncan around that time. He and Duncan were friends forged over the internet. Both teams took part in a Skype-based chat group that included otherly similarly aged friends. The group often joked around and did quote unquote dumb shit that Brian described as typical humor for the time. He said he took a video of Duncan in 2014 and a screenshot of his friend's face as his own profile photo on Facebook. In a screenshot Brian shared with ANN, Mills is shown to have massaged Brian and began asking for the video repeatedly after Brian declined it. And yes, I am reading this word for word, folks. No, I didn't. And yes, Strider, he was Chris Ayer's understudy. Chris passed away back in October, or after a long conflict with COPD. About time you showed up, Darwin. Anyway, let me get back to this article. Brian told ANN that Mills would often make off-color comments on his and other boys' Facebook profile and play them off as jokes, including statements that he was going to rape them. He would comment on Facebook posts and, spell rape incorrectly to try and act like it's funny. Damon, let me put some like this about this. Rape is not funny. You may get a rise out of putting this sort of thing off as a joke, but people like me, decent people, we don't. And keep in mind, folks, I am not trying to drag Damon Mills through the mud here. Mills is doing that easy enough himself. I am just reading this article to give you the context of what's going on. For as much as I'm willing to sling mud at A&N for allowing a shrew like Mars Girl to put out a hit piece. That being said, this sounds like it's got some weight behind it. Anyway, Brian said in one message from 2014 shared with A&N, which I will not show, Mills wrote to the 16-year-old Brian that they should F-bomb and asked the team to send nude photos of himself. Look, I'm going to be blunt about this. And Xander, if you want to blast me on Kyle Phillips's Discord server, I'm not going to stop you. What I'm about to say is just me being straight about this. I mean, I know, sir, you are not on either side of the conflict. And you view people like me, view individuals like me, who I classify myself as a chaotic I stand with Vic, not a lawful or even a neutral one. I view myself as a full-blown, pure chaotic I stand with Vic, as basically a cancer that the movement needs to cut away. I get that. But what Daman Mills tried to do to this guy would make anyone sick, gay or straight. I mean, gay and straight alike would be sickened by this. Anyway, Brian said he was contacted by Mills the day after the actor's birthday when Mills allegedly asked Duncan to perform oral sex. In the message screenshot shared with A&N, Mills stated he and Duncan never really dated, and his feelings for the teenager were unrequited. Well, when you push it like that, Damon, of course you're either going to get friend zoned or flat out dumped. And it doesn't matter. And in that case, it doesn't matter if you're straight or gay or LGBTQIA plus. Above image has been edited as so not to reveal the alleged victim's name. This is what Damon wrote in a tweet. Quote, in a Facebook text. Quote, dude, I know the feeling more than anything more than you can know. And that's why I'm reaching out because of that. I feel so effing badly. I was about to die. I mean, even though we haven't really dated, I'm still dealing with my unrequited feels for blank every day. Not his fault at all. I just can't shake him. I cried to him on my birthday like a bitch because I don't know what to do. But man, geez, I want to hug you. Don't know what I can say to help at all except be there for you. This either says 1 million or 10 million%. Duncan told A&N that another incident allegedly took place outside of his home when he went to visit Mills in February of 2015. Like previous incident, Duncan said that Mills asked they sleep in the same bed. Duncan said he woke up that morning to Mills prodding his penis through my shorts, and that's only what I was awake for. Duncan woke up mortified, which said Mills only laughed. Duncan said he confronted Mills about it later, and Mills made him promise not to tell anyone. Blackmail much? When Duncan would try to talk to Mills about his interest in girls, he said the voice actor would tell him he was jealous or otherwise concerned that Damon would abandon him if he entered a relationship with a girl. Ladies and gentlemen, I show you the dark. This article, whether it be true or false, does give one thing, show one aspect. The dark side of the LGBTQIA community. They are borderline possessive of their targets. They do not like to be friend zoned. Facebook messages shared with an A&N show that in 2015, Mills told Duncan that when the teenager found a significant other, it would hurt him. Additional Facebook messages from 14 to 15 show Mills discussed helping the teen masturbate, asked what kind of sexual acts he was interested in, and asked for a dick measurement. Eventually, Duncan stated that his mother got involved, and by March of 2015, the two were no longer in regular contact, though Duncan never told his mother in depth what the hell was going on. I didn't tell her about it for years, he said. I felt ashamed, I guess. I was like, I'm a guy and I should feel like a man, you know? This isn't happening to me. I tried to dismiss it in my head because I don't know how to deal with it. Didn't know how to deal with it, he said. He told Anna that his mother thought it was strange that they were sharing twin sized bed and offered Mills the couch instead. According to Duncan, Mills got offended and accused his mother of assuming he would do something inappropriate just because of sex orientation. Though to be honest, if Mills tried to pull that, and I'm going to be blunt, Damon, if we ever come in contact with each other and you try to pull that stunt on me, you know what I'm going to give you? I'm not going to give you my dick or my pecs to screw with. I'm going to give you this to your face. Simple as that. And I'm going to testify it as self-defense against a sex predator. Because that's what you are, Damon. Mr. Mills. And you projected that onto Vic. Seriously? Sorry about that. Someone asked me a dumbass question like, how many bodies do I have in my basement? Anyway, Duncan said he felt trapped during the confrontation because he claims that Mills had already been inappropriate with him in his bed, but didn't want to say anything in front of Mills and his mother. According to Brian, Mills began distancing himself from the friend group as a whole in 2015. When he reached out to Mills in May to ask why, Mills replied he didn't want to deal with Duncan or hear about what I've done wrong or anything between him and I. Note, the linked image is edited as to not reveal the alleged victim's name. Because of all this, everyone pretty much stopped talking to him. Duncan started opening up to more people about the alleged incidents, I think. I don't know if Damon found out about it or what, but he started very quickly cutting everyone off. He started bad-mouthing Duncan to his voice actor friends, people he knew and people he knew in the industry. That's what I believe, because he was trying to distance himself from it as much as possible. Duncan began seeing a girl, and he discovered that Mills had told their mutual acquaintances that he was a liar and a bad friend. According to Duncan's old brother, Duncan stated he confronted Mills, who he claimed admitted to doing it because making himself and others hate you made it a lot easier for him to move on. That same year, Damon was cast in the lead role of Media Blaster's Holy Night anime OVA, and in 2016, he was cast in the first lead role of Jungo in Nanbaka, with additional roles in Yuri on Ice, Cheer Boys, Tokenrambu, Hanamaru, Trickster, and All Out. Mills then told ANN he sought legal counsel and has been advised not to comment on the allegations. Of course, he's been told not to comment about them, to cover his own ass. Anyway, he sent the victim a cease and desist letter on February 18th of this year, as well as claiming that the relationship was mutual and consensual and the allegations be retracted. Mills also demanded the alleged victim cease and desist from further contacting Mills' employers or contractors and was given until February 25th to agree or face potential legal actions, including potential liability damages, costs, and expenses, as age of consent in Ohio is 16. Mills is being represented by the Kenneth J. Burke Burke of the Burke Law Group, APC in California. When asked why he's coming forward after all these years, Duncan said his primary motivation is admitting that what happened to him was real. I'm just trying to get this story out there because this did happen, as unbiased as I can be. This all did happen to me, and when things like this happen, people should feel comfortable about speaking up about it. End quote. See, this is what happens when a legit victim comes forward. Word, in my opinion. You and me both, Steve Stevens. But this is what happens when when who's a legit victim, actually has the courage to stand up and come clean with what happened. This is what should happen. What happened to Vic is what should happen to someone like Damon if he is that sick in the head. And I am being completely unbiased. Believe me, it was strenuous for me to get through reading that whole article, but without completely blowing a gasket. Emphasis on without blowing a gasket. And believe me, if this gets Damon fired, though I highly doubt it won't, knowing Sabbath, he'll sweep it under the rug as much as he possibly can. If it does get him fired, and if Damon is found guilty, bring in Derek Stephen Prince, the Bang Zoom Frieza, to replace him. I stand with Vic, now then forever. Leave a comment, smash the like, sub to the channel. I'm sorry for going off the handle, but at least my temper was kept more in check this time around. And for those wondering why I come off as such a crass and negative individual, having autism, specifically Asperger's syndrome, makes me pretty socially inept. So I come off with a condescensious, arrogant, short tempered, and overly blunt and cynical tone, almost to a fault. But I am not one with a superiority complex or very condescending. But I do not intend to come off as having a superiority complex or condescensious. I just come off as a very honest, blunt, and straightforward individual, almost to a fault. That being said, this is Mets2128 signing out. Goodbye and good night. Bang.